What is going on with us? Well, we got so much stuff going on. We got tariffs. We got more tariffs. We got a lot of tariffs. Are there going to be more tariffs from China onto China and then China back to this and then onto China and back to us?
President Trump Monday threatened to again increase tariffs on China if Beijing doesn't remove the retaliatory tariffs it placed on the U.S. The president said his administration would put additional tariffs on China of 50% effective Wednesday, April 9th. A senior White House official said this would be in addition to the 34% tariff President Trump announced last week, set to go into effect that same day. There are already 20% tariffs in place on China, which means there's a potential for a total of 104%. China called the Trump administration's policy, quote, economic bullying.
Economic bullying. So who's bullying who in this scenario? I feel like, are we bullying them? Are they bullying us? You know, here's something else. Why aren't we going after some of these companies? Why aren't we either sweetening a deal to get them back here, if we're really that serious, telling the onshore stuff, not only are we going to figure out a way to get you through a certain time when it comes to taxes and stuff like that, but, you know, why don't we figure out how we do certain things? Like, why aren't we going after some of them? Because some of them already left China, Nike being a big one. They bounced. They went to Vietnam hoping to get away from the tariffs, only to find out that the tariffs showed up there. So that didn't go the way they thought. Oh, Nike. But I think it's a fair question in that sense of why are we, just like, you know, when it comes with immigration, right? Like, why are we going after the employers? You want to employ a bunch of people that are here illegally? Pay the price for it. Watch what happens. If you're that serious about cutting off everything, then that's what you do. But how serious is everybody cutting off stuff? Trump may be, but is the rest of the politicians? Maybe, maybe not. And when tariffs will matter is when they start to affect your pocketbook. The minute life gets more expensive and you go from just getting by to, oh my God, inflation's back, on top of that, tariffing's back, on top of that, life is now, I got to get a side hustle for my side hustle. That's when life becomes crap for you and you start to say things. The stock market, if you're 35, means very little at this moment in time unless you're a day trader. You don't want to see stuff go down, but you're in it for the long haul, right? So you're not in it for just today or this month. If you're 75, it's a different story, depending on how you got things set up. But how does it affect you today? That's all you need to know about. How does this affect me at this moment in time? Now, where it can affect you and all of us is if the market gets crushed and companies get shy about wanting to spend money and invest money and hold on to cash. Then it will affect us because we like to think that, yeah, these companies are going to put some money into the things they're doing. And if you're a small business, you're not sure if you're going to go out right now and hire. I don't know what tariffs are going to be like. So I can't make that decision about tomorrow, not sure about what's going to happen tomorrow. Because with Trump, you don't know. These things could be off in a week. They could be here for good. You don't know.
President Trump Monday threatened to again increase tariffs on China if Beijing doesn't remove the retaliatory tariffs it placed on the U.S. The president said his administration would put additional tariffs on China of 50% effective Wednesday, April 9th. A senior White House official said this would be in addition to the 34% tariff President Trump.
So 34% on top of all the other stuff that we've got. When I listen to that, so we're looking at 100% here and 100%. What's it do for something, though? Does it make it? Somebody says we need to stop buying junk. I've said that for a long time. We're addicted to cheap goods because they're cheap. And so, you know, but we've got to make the right goods here in America. We have to. There's no reason for us to, I said earlier, somebody said, well, we can make this. There's no reason to make socks here. If you want to make socks, that's fine. But, there's no reason to make to bring socks home and say, hey, we're going to make socks here. Well, we're not going to be able to compete. Even with some tariffs, we're not going to be able to compete. We make important things. We make chips, right? Cars, things that are important, things that are big. That's what we make here, especially when it comes to, and the easiest thing to onboard is our pharmaceutical. That's a huge and easy thing to do because we already have certain things set up for that. It's much easier. Now, it's easier to bring it back, but do we have the man and woman power, the person power, the workforce? Do we have that to do some of these? Because that's one of the other things, like with the chips. If we open up the chips factory, which has been delayed another year in Arizona, so that's the Taiwanese chip manufacturer. If we opened up today, we couldn't fill it. We'd have to import a bunch of people to work inside those factories. That is not that is a much different, precise kind of engineering. We just don't have the manpower for certain things. Certain things can be automated. Certain things is just standing there and monitoring. But we also make sure we have the manpower. And the same thing goes for like the pharmaceutical side. Bringing it back, do we have enough people to handle that?
This really isn't about data. It's about decision making. And when you don't quite know what the actual policies are, and it just depends on the president's whim from day to day, what you get is people who start betting on rumors or start whatever whisper campaign is going on, that they start to adjust accordingly. And that's just no way to run a rodeo, let alone the largest economy on earth.
Well, first of all, I don't want to run a rodeo, although we have a rodeo story coming up later. It's a tragic one. But certainty, stability, things in the market, that's what the market wants. The stock market doesn't care who runs the country. What they care about is their stability in what they do, right? Do I know tomorrow that it's going to be the same as today?
They want to know the rules they're going to be forced to play by, and they want them implemented so they can just deal with it.
Yeah. And for them right now, there is no certainty except uncertainty.
When businesses say they need certainty, what they mean is that they can't plan unless they have a clear road ahead. And so all of this back and forth is really freezing American businesses across the board. And I'd point out that even Trump supporters are now saying it. Elon Musk, of all people, said yesterday we should have a no tariff agreement with the EU. That's basically what we had until we started down this path.
We import some stuff, but China and because we're price conscious. Right? Like I said earlier, are you willing to pay, a lot of people out there willing to pay $1,000 for a phone? Are you willing to pay $3,500 for a phone? Probably not. And you don't want to pay $1,000 for a phone.
It's becoming like buying a car.
Yes. Yeah.
And Apple's probably shaking in their boots that they're going to have to jack up prices to the point where people are going to think twice about buying the brand new phone.
And they can't bring out a phone every 5 weeks, whatever it is. What'd you guys do this time? We tweaked this thing right here. The R is sideways.
Look, we made you taller.
Yeah, we put new stickers on the filters. Like that's all they do.
The charging port is now lint free.
Yeah. What's the new thing with it? They go back. They got away from their other charger, right? For their new stuff, I think.
What do you mean?
For Apple.
Oh, I thought everybody was using the same C-type now.
Yeah, I think they are now. Before they had that other one that was theirs that only they used, was annoying.
It was almost like using a Sony product, because Sony prides themselves on making sure their stuff is not compatible with anybody else's.
Yeah. So, but again, all of these things, people want certainty. The market wants certainty. They want to know what the rules are, and they're uncertain by this. We like cheap goods. We're addicted to it. Can we get off some cheap goods? Yes. But when it comes to certain things, especially, here's the thing. Even if we wanted to ramp up manufacturing today, that's going to take years for that to happen. And the adjustment of the prices compared to the economic side of your life, you're not going to be there yet. You're going to be, it's a lagging indicator, if you will, is going to be your salary. And so once your salary, once your paycheck, once your living changes because of tariffs, then I think Trump would absolutely notice. But until then, it's game on. Let's see what happens. I want him to succeed. Hell to the yeah. But I also understand politics is involved in this, and you never know with politics. I saw Ted Cruz come out this weekend. I saw some big supporters come out and say, I want him to succeed, but, I could also admit that there may be a bloodbath if we don't get this right. Well, yeah, if you don't get it right, there will be a bloodbath. You may want Trump to succeed. I may want him to succeed. But politically, could that shift? Yeah. And could they pay a price next year in midterms? Always a possibility. I'd like to think that it wasn't going to happen, but we don't know. Because you know what? This time next week, we'd be like, well, that was weird. The tariff war is already over. You never know with Trump.